you guys revamping the evaluation process, or?
Yes, we would like to, we won't have it ready for October of 15, but we anticipate that it will be in 16. My suggestion would be to just do it as an opener with like wages are an opener and there's any performance issue or bonus or something like that to be had. My preference would just be to leave it as part of the opener and just, I mean, just say wages are open anyway. So if it's going to be a wage, if it's a performance bonus or a wage increase or anything like that, so. It's open.
Yeah, so it ties into wages, because our proposal is a 2-year wage proposal. So if there's going to be a performance component to it, then
that would come up with wages. So we could leave it as status quo for now.
yeah. I mean, the biggest heartburn is performance evaluations not being grieved or appealed. It doesn't make, honestly, it makes less of a difference if it's not attached to money.
Right.
And if it is attached to money and there's just a gross miscarriage of justice in terms of the scoring,
Right.
and we don't have any ability to agree to it because it says we don't, then that becomes problematic to us. But if it's not attached to money, it's less problematic. Not to say it's not less important, because it doesn't affect someone's promotion. Yeah. But so yeah, I'd like to just leave it on the table, I guess, not feeling it just until we get the wages done.
Okay. Well, and the other option.
Is that what
yeah, we'll leave it as an opener for next year. Because we're not doing nothing is performance based for 15, 16.
Yeah. But again, our proposal is a 2-year, and if you agree to our 2-year proposal, then we may go on for the ride with the merit increases, whatever comes up, and that's the reason why I haven't assigned to it.
7, homesteading, is there an issue?
I got a note that says, Randy said the department will work something else.
All right,
Randy,
time to put up, Randy.
Do you really have it?
I don't even know what department.
If you guys can't remember what department, then we can't put Randy on the hook for this.
Let's go to the videotape.
Is this the This is only about bus drivers. bus drivers? So
Yeah.
what that referred to was, I said I would go back.
Yeah, it's about
and
lunch
talk
breaks.
to,
That's what it's about.
right,
Lunch
yeah,
breaks
yeah.
and how they impact
Yeah, and I
bus
think,
drivers.
and Jim, I think they've had some discussions. I don't think they've come to any conclusions yet on how to crack that nut. But
Yeah,
the discussions.
we're working on it, but we're still a little ways apart.
Yeah.
We're probably not gonna be till probably April before we
I'll give
figure
you
out.
an overview if you want one.
I think I recall what the situation was. It was about
Right.
this.
Right, we'll give her the overview during
Yeah.
the break.
I like my overviews better.
Our mine is Randy threw us under the bus when we started with the
Our
bus.
overview is the drivers have to pee in a cup.
Yeah.
This was
At least give
astronaut
them a bigger
diversity.
Well, hey, County wants to go out and buy astronaut suits for these guys. I'm sure you'll wear it. Don't forget they're air conditioned too.
That's right,
awesome.
see, and gravity, may float.
Go ahead, John.
If they wanted to-
Give Barbara your overview
Please
of how.
do.
The overview is that, we just don't think it's fair that an employee doesn't have the ability to take a lunch, let alone a break. And from what we've been told, it's inherently difficult when you have a structured bus route to incorporate breaks into it. I just don't get it. I mean, I just tell the customers, the public, that bus route 101, that this is what the pickup time, this is what the next one is at the next stop. But I don't come from transit, so I know I've met with Phil along with Jim, and we explained some of the issues, and that in a perfect world, if every route was running the way it's supposed to be running, then it might be less problematic. There's enough downtime during the course of the
If we didn't have traffic, that's what we need to do, get rid of all the traffic.
Weather, traffic, and unforeseen events.
There you go.
Changes
But if we
everything.
could just start with traffic.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, so realistically though, okay, so yeah, I mean, we do have traffic, we do have wheelchairs, we do have accidents, we have all these things that affect the nature of the business, but it's just not fair if someone doesn't have the ability to simply take a break or lunch, so, you know, and
I'm sorry. I would think it's inherently unsafe too. I mean, if they haven't had a break, they've been
Well-
driving.
How they feel is, we do it without a lunch, no problem.
Yeah.
But the 2 15-minute breaks that everybody else gets in the county, they're not getting. Because they're running behind, and a lot of times they end up off the clock and behind.
Yeah.
They don't put in overtime for that extra time that they're late getting back. And they just feel, they just feel, they just feel they should be compensated somehow. And if you took those 15-minute breaks that they don't get, the clerks and everybody else enjoys, they go to a desk and they take a break. It ends up being like 3 weeks a year that they're working extra.
What's the, so do you work a straight 8-hour shift, is that?
Yeah, some are 8s and some might be 9.
8, 9, but no lunch, so in other words, it's a paid
Yeah.
lunch, I'm gonna call it a paid lunch, you don't actually get a break, but you presumably eating maybe at some point?
No, you're just working straight through it.
it's just there's no 30-minute deduction.
Yeah.
Right, correct, I understand that, but hopefully you're able to eat something.
Yeah.
Well, you don't really get to do that because half the time you're never gonna get off the bus anyway,
Yeah.
you know?
So our proposal initially was to strike through the exemption or the exception of public transportation employees for both lunch and breaks. And having further discussion with Jim, who is a representative of his peers, the lunch thing is really not the problem, as you just mentioned. And so, you know, the union's proposal is going to change that. It's more an issue of the 2 15-minute breaks than it is the lunch break.
Yeah,
That's their world, that's what they, in other words. So we're tweaking our proposal.
do they have any thoughts about, I mean?
The drivers understand that they
Right.
supply a service to the county and its
Yeah.
people. And the 15-minute break thing that they don't get anyway, they still try and keep their buses on schedule. They just wanted to be compensated somehow, for something for the time that they don't get.
Yeah.
You know, that
I was
everybody
wondering
else
if there's a
does.
way to, I mean, like, after 4 hours, that actually, I have no idea, I've never ever done so late with
Yeah, it's
transportation. guys
challenging, it's
picking me up.
challenging, it's
It-
challenging.
So what Jim's alluding to, though, is that, okay, if everybody at this table gets 2 15-minute breaks a day, that's 30 minutes.
Oh, no, I understand,
Yeah,
I
so-
completely
So
get
if
the
he's not gonna get his
compensability part,
break,
yeah.
at least pad that onto.
Right,
onto the-
right,
the
no,
time.
I get that.
So what they wanted was, we'll give you half the break time back, and they would like it to have it
Yeah,
in vacation time or something. Some kind of comp time added to,
okay,
you know,
all right.
for the time that they don't get.
Yeah,
everyone else
well,
will.
and I appreciate what you're saying, I'm just wondering if it's a, you know, I mean, clearly it might be hard sometimes to
Because
go
it-
without a break, that's
see what it is,
an
if-
actual break,
if
but
a
I don't
driver-
know
It
how
is,
much
and that
time.
was part of the context of the original discussion
Yeah.
was that is hard to go that long without a break, whether it's a
Yeah.
bathroom or something.
Right.
It's the, you know, the physical part of it, not so much the
Yeah.
pay part.
The 15-minute part of it, that sometimes they can get a 3 minutes run in, run out. But just to stop transit for 15 minutes, the whole system crashes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're not gonna connect anywhere. The phones are gonna be ringing in that commissioner's office all day long. You know what I mean? How come the bus is never on time? And you get it now, you know?
But you
I'm
change the
sure.
schedule, you know,
Yeah, well,
change the schedules.
Oh, that's,
Instead of the bus comes
that's what
at
I've talked
9:15,
to
it comes at
their
9:30.
department.
Yeah.
They're not under me, but I've presented the problem to them, and they want to look at
Okay.
other models.
Yeah,
So we're planning on restructuring routes, and
yeah,
I'm going over it with Phil and Joe, but it's gonna take time. You know, you just can't
Get your breaks or something.
do it overnight, you know, I mean,
Change in
routes are
47.
gonna have to
Yeah,
change.
that's true. People
So
get
we
pretty-
gotta
be a way
other
People get pretty
do it.
reliant on those routes, I'm sure.
I mean, we're looking at ways to shorten some, maybe have a different bus overlap, something different.
yeah,
But, you know, as it is, it's, the way they are now, they're on an hour schedule and the 19s are on a half-hour schedule. Because it's put that way,
Listen, hang on. The county just pointed out that G in Article 47 actually specifically says, our schedules for transportation employees and bargaining units will accommodate time for personal breaks. And if employees not getting their personal breaks.
Yeah.
why are
That
they
language
filing
was
grievances?
added after this
Yeah.
discussion last time.
Right. So,
So it's not part of the current contract, there's a proposal?
No, it's.
It's just not
Oh.
being approved, so it's not a
Okay.
matter of the contract needs to be
We added
changed.
it
People need to file
before
grievances.
the contract was ratified.
Yeah.
That's their complaint. Now, I could have a stack of grievances this big.
Yeah. Well, and of course, the
You know,
resolution.
Well, the concern is, we'll talk in caucus. We'll talk in
Yeah.
caucus. I see what you're saying, the language is there, I tell the chief up front to lie about it.
So grievances and rock and roll, that's what I did.
Yeah, well, and I see what he's saying that,
that may-
well, the resolution of the grievance is monetary or vacation time or something, but the reality is, I think that it's an issue for, that needs to be fixed in terms of the breaks. I think so, hopefully that we're going in that direction.
It's just trying to get John Q. Public
Yeah,
okay, now you're gonna be later. That they want better hours, they want more service as it is, and if you take breaks, that
right.
makes them later.
It just seems to me
Can't
like
be the
I've
only
seen.
bus system that's had.
Oh, no, absolutely, that's what I mean, I know there's some buses, because I've talked to a friend of mine, and at one point, the bus picks everybody up, and then it stops someplace for 20 minutes, and it waits there, and
You
I
know,
think
nothing
that's,
stops for
yeah, that's what I mean, I
20
think that's what's happening, is that,
It's
or
not happening here,
10,
Carolyn.
15,
No.
whatever.
I just
So
want
there's
to ask,
still been.
I want to ask the county a question. We did agree to G, but with the exclusion or the exception in F about breaks, saying everybody, with the exception of public transportation employees, may be granted 2 15-minute paid breaks. You're saying if they don't get 2 15-minute breaks, so in G, what does it mean when you say you're going to provide or accommodate time for personal breaks? What's the definition of a personal break?
Well, the language came in because we recognized that you couldn't treat the bus drivers like everybody else. They just don't fit into the generic language about breaks. That's when G was added. That's my recollection of the progression of that.
Okay. Well,
So G really requires flexibility. And whether that's been worked out or not on a route by route basis, I can't tell you.
We've been trying to fix it for a year, but to no avail,
Really?
well, then,
No, it's just-
Scheduling
well,
expert, like
they need
Randy.
to.
It's just, you got Pinellas, you gotta try and connect with them,
Yeah,
and now we're gonna start with Hernando.
the
That's
bus.
gonna change things, yeah.
Personal means
That was
bad.
really-
And we don't have enough equipment, so.
all right, so we're doing our caucus, we're gonna formulate, because I don't know if we even have a written proposal. I don't have one. I thought we had one, but I don't see it under the breaks.
Yeah, I know.
But the ask is that they're afforded the same thing in either time, paid time during the shift, or if that's not possible, then just paid time. The equivalent of 2 15-minute breaks, which adds up to be 30 minutes, so that's kind of the direction we're going, is what to solidify a more a specific proposal.
Okay. Next, well, we talked about the reduction, so we do.
Yeah, I was interested in that.
Yep, exactly. Holidays, let's see. What have you guys got for holidays? There's that.
Yeah, this is, holidays, it seemed like we had it all worked out, and then someone threw a monkey wrench in the
Well, I'm gonna throw another one at you, hopefully, so, do we have that holiday? I'm gonna give you this,
it was 48 or 54.
yeah, this was even a newer thing, so let's talk about that. I think the matrix was certainly one thing, I'm gonna give you this, I think, I'm sorry. Randy, did you have one of these?
We'll take one.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
You want one, Ed?
I'll
You
read.
got one more?
That's all right.
Go make some copies real quick.
Ed said you don't need one. I'll share with it, I'll
Yeah,
share
that's
with Ed.
okay.
You sure here, I got.
Yeah, that's okay, we can share. Give that back to Pam.
Well, Frank is, there too, and he's gone now.
Well,
so-
Frank's gone, so
Yeah,
tough luck.
Okay.
You get up,
So
tough luck.
there's holidays always an issue. right, because, it's never as straightforward as you would love it to be. So I tried to, the matrix is okay, but again, then, it might be a little confusing, it might not be. I mean, if you guys wanna read that and say, okay, this works for, whatever, there's another way we can do it. The holiday pay article here, holidays approved each year by the Pasco County BSCC shall be observed except for those on leave of absences, suspension, work comp, or disability, which is pretty standard. All regular employees, 8, 10, you might even have some 12s. Do you have 12-hour people?
I don't think we have any regular 12,
Okay.
particularly in emergency.
Yeah,
Okay.
with fire.
I think I think the most we got is 10, right?
And, yeah, well, in any case, the intention is not to withhold. So if they are 12 and if they are receiving 12 hours, then that would be.
It's hour for hour.
Yeah, it's hour for hour. But if they're 12 and they're getting 8, we would still
I
obviously
don't
let them
think
get
we
8.
have any
So,
12s, but.
yeah. Part-time is obviously, whatever their hours are budgeted, then they would get that. So in other words, if they were a budgeted employee at 20 hours, they'd get 4 hours of holiday pay for every holiday. Relief seasonal temporary, no change there. In order to receive pay, the employee must not have been absent without pay, without approved leave, either the workday before, after, or during, unless otherwise approved by the department head. And we understand there may be some issues that might, have that. If an employee calls in sick on the holiday and they were obviously supposed to work, then they'll be charged sick hours and not get the holiday. Here's a little bit of a change, because I think what happened was in the way that it was proposed last time, it was just going to be time and a half. I think it was double time and a half, and the proposal was time and a half. This is actually double time. So this is what happens is, all regular, full-time, part-time, non-exempt employees who are scheduled or called in to work the holiday will receive their holiday pay and, as well as their regular rate of pay.
Rather than time and a half,
Correct.
which is the status quo.
Correct. In the case where the employee works on the holiday, either the holiday pay or the hours work, whichever is greater, counts toward the calculation of overtime. Obviously not full. Those are pretty much the highlights. The rest of it is, I'll go on further. So in some cases, and I know employees prefer just to take a day off. So sometimes if your employee's regular day off falls on the holiday, then we can schedule you for a holiday. In the event that we can't schedule it, say within 30 days, we can maybe make that the pay period, then we just pay for it. And obviously.
Why would, you still got more,
Yeah.
is that pretty much it then?
I'm sorry, what was that? No, I think that's pretty much it, a holiday on leave.
Why would we willingly agree to giving up the benefit of earning time and a half or coming out on a holiday and working for straight time? What possible reason why we'd be interested in doing that, just out of curiosity?
Well, I mean, obviously, I think the proposal last time was time and a half. Certainly it is a reduction. I mean, this is, pretty typical.
Time and a half, you're talking about the matrix grid thing that we worked on? You're saying that's time? I mean, it's always been time and a half. Guy comes in and work, or gal comes in to work on a holiday, you receive, pay it for time and a half.
Yeah, I think the county's last proposal was only time and a half, not in addition to the holiday pay. It was one or the other.
If you're entitled to holiday pay at 8 hours or 10 hours, and you say, hey, I need you to come in to work a holiday, why in the world would I want to work a holiday for 8 or 10 hours when I can sit home and receive 8 or 10 hours? The incentive is that you're entitled, everybody's entitled to holiday pay, okay?
Right.
4th of July is the 4th of July. You're going to get 8 or 10 hours, depending on what your regular shift is, for the 4th of July.
Right.
Now, it just so happens if you're scheduled to work on that day, for the inconvenience of having to come to work, not having a barbecue with your family, you're taken away from everything, there's a reward for that. There's an incentive. And the incentive is that you're going to, at least, you may be required to work, we get
Yeah.
that. Some of these job classifications, we absolutely, it's a 24/7 deal, but to tell them that you're no longer going to be receiving time and 1/2, you're only going to get straight time, just, I can probably speak on behalf of this committee without going too much further, that's just probably just not going to fly. I don't think the proposal last time that reflected that, I thought the grid that we worked out,
Well, we haven't worked the grid out quite yet, because we
What
haven't
was the grid?
TA'd
Is that
on.
this?
well, I know we haven't TA'd it,
Okay.
because there was a change in section B.
We haven't TA'd it, we have talked through, we talked to on really one very productive section. But, why don't you just go down the grid for a second and tell Barbara what your position was on A through H?
Well, we liked everything on A through H with the exception of B. And when we initially, as a group collectively, both union and management, all pitched in to create this grid, B, which is under the work leave status category, where it says a designated holiday falls on the day the employee, struck the S, the employee usually works, but the employee is not required to work the designated holiday. And so that goes down to 8 hours of straight time pay, it doesn't count as hours worked.
Right.
Well, we disagreed with that, and when we initially designed it, saying nothing makes a difference because we didn't sign it, and I get that.
Right.
That was going to be in line with the status quo, that if the designated holiday falls on the day that the employee usually works, but the employee is not required to work the designated holiday. Maybe, and that's, we look for something, that you get straight time for that, I get that, I mean, you get your, one of these was changed between the first time we created it, I could have sworn it was B, now I'm wondering, the designated holiday falls on the day the employee usually works, but the employee is not required to work the designated holiday. You would get the, holiday pay, straight time. I know what it is, but that's not, the county's revised position was that that's not considered hours worked. So there was no change proposed from the county that, if you work a holiday, you get paid time 1/2. That was never changed until today, just hearing it from you. What was, the concern was that was considered hours worked for purposes of computing overtime, which falls under, the leave.
Yeah, we changed that,
Yeah.
we put that back in there.
And that's what Barbara's
Yeah,
proposal was a few minutes ago, which was
the ad holiday.
give us the planned annual leave, we'll put back in the holiday leave, then we would adjust the B description there, it would say the hours do work.
Okay, so then the only new one would be, which one?
Well, I just have a question. So give me your take on E. Maybe I'm just reading this wrong. So E. How much does an employee get paid? I should ask everybody.
Letter E? You said letter E?
Yes, under E, correct.
The actual holiday is not the designated holiday. Okay, it falls on a day the employee usually works, and the employee is required to work the actual holiday. 2, time 1/2 for hours work. That's what,
But no holiday pay, or is the holiday pay then
They're
incurred?
paid for the designated holiday,
They
This-
get-
not the actual holiday.
we just had, we had a grievance.
4th of July this year.
4th of July issue, which is
That's
just,
confusing to me.
yeah, I'll explain to you what happened on the 4th of July.
Oh, no, I know, trust me.
Oh, you do?
Yes, Friday, Saturday, believe me, I heard that, yes, the landfill and, yes, I'm still, yes, I'm 100%
Well,
sure.
this is in line with the grievance settlement.
Okay,
Okay, so if,
here or in Hernando?
here, I'm talking about here, we had a grievance here,
Yeah.
over the 4th of July, it's
Okay.
it's still kind of, I mean, it's still up in the air in terms of we just gotta figure out who's getting paid unless that's, unless that's been settled. But the
hear about
grievance has
that.
already been heard and the decision's been made by
Yeah.
Kathy Pearson. Now, if the person works on either, not both, but either, the holiday that is designated by the county, which in this particular case was July 3rd,
Correct.
or the actual holiday, which in this particular example is July 4th, they shall receive the rate of pay at time and 1/2. Okay, so in this particular grievance matter, the 3rd of July was a county holiday, and the bus drivers didn't run, okay, because they shut down the bus system because it was a county holiday, but then they cranked it back up on the 4th of July, They didn't work on the 3rd of July, but they worked on the actual holiday, 4th of July, so they got paid time and 1/2 for the hours, they should have gotten paid time and 1/2 for the hours that they worked on the 4th of July. They didn't, we agreed to settlement, supported sustaining agreements, and so we've kind of been there, done that. So that's kind of what the understanding was, and it's in line with the county policy, because it says either or. If you work on either the county designated holiday or the actual holiday, then you should receive pay at the rate of time and 1/2. Your proposal today is that it doesn't make a difference. If you work on any holiday, you're only getting straight time, if I understand it correctly, right?
Right, plus the holiday pay. Yeah, so it's double time.
It's not double time.
Well,
It's not double
it's
time and a
holiday
half, and I hear this all the time. Because if you work a 6-hour day, what would happen? You're not getting double time. Or you work a 10-hour day, you're not getting double time. If you're getting 8 hours a holiday and you work 10 hours, you're not getting double time and a half for 10 hours. You're getting 8 hours of straight time, time and a half for 10 hours. That's why it's not accurate,
Yeah.
in my opinion, to call it double time and a half when it's really not. You're getting holiday pay and you're getting time and a half.
Okay.
So,
And that's what it currently is, obviously. I'm just, and is that what this proposal says, Jim? I mean, was that the understanding, that it was, that this continued the?
This did
for
not,
lack of a better term,
no,
double
this,
time, yeah.
this, the proposal was not an attempt to maintain the status quo in all cases. It was an attempt to identify all the different combinations of designated versus actual and what people should get paid on.
I don't,
So there
I'm not
was,
challenging you that your proposal didn't have something in mind that wasn't completely in line with the status quo. I thought it was at the time, but then the last time we met, by changing B to 3 when it should say 6, because when we initially designed this thing, everybody at the table, with the exception of Randy, was pretty solid on B should be 6. And then you guys came back the next time and said, no, B should be 3.
so again,
Sure.
for the benefit of Barbara who didn't get to participate in that, go down the list, A through H, and tell her what your numbers are.
Okay, well, they're the same as the county.
So,
A equals 2 or 5. B, the union's counter proposal, that should say 6.
okay,
C through H are as they are on your proposal. So C equals 4, D equals 6, E equals 2, F equals 4, G equals 2 and 5, H equals 2.
so all we need to focus on during the break is B.
And if B becomes 6, we can TA it. And then there's under the heading B, not the work leave status B, but the heading B, striking the word associated after holiday. It says holiday benefits. It's just a grammar. So that's where we're at. And we're still there. It's still our comment. If you have, I mean, I don't know, do you want, I don't think I necessarily need to go through all of these if everybody here
No,
except for
yeah,
Barbara
I'll
understands it.
take some time with it.
Sure.
Review and digest it.
The wages next, I guess?
Yes. Your proposal is $1 an hour for this year, 3% for next year.
Nice and easy.
Yeah, it is nice and easy. I think ours is nice and easy, right, out of the 3, and, well, I hope that's the following year, but it might have a better component if we do.
The reason for the dollar across the board, because that might represent less than 3% for some people,
Right.
is that it's kind of a wage equalization proposal that we're trying to bring people from the bottom up a little bit. Not that the dollar's going to make anybody run out and buy a new car or a house or something.
Well,
But
it's 6 years with no raises too, I mean, we're still.
Yeah.
Sure. And so, you know, the percentage concept kind of spreads the gap even a little further.
Yeah.
You know, so rather than just kind of kicking the can I mean, a lot of thought went into having this, flat rate
Yeah.
across the board.
I'm, quite frankly, you know, not adamantly opposed to a flat rate. I think the issue is, of course, $1 an hour represents 10% at $10 an hour. We probably didn't budget, now, I don't know if the impact, what the total impact to the budget is. It's obviously very easy to find out because it represents 2,080 hours, but then overtime. And
And
obviously,
we haven't done enough work to know what the
Yeah.
break-even
Oh,
point is.
let me cost it. I
Sure.
mean, if what you're looking at is the flat rate, I mean, I can tell you what 3%, not at this minute, but I can certainly go back and do a calculation and tell you what what that would be.
And I'm sure I know there's a monetary equivalent for, if a 3% raise costs us, just for argument's sake,
Yeah.
$1 million, then what would $1 million cost at,
Right.
an hourly rate? And so-
Right, exactly. And I can give you that. I mean, it's just a budgeted issue. I mean, we have budgeted, I mean, I don't, I understand if you think the low end is low and you're comfortable with where the top end is. Sometimes that's not the case, and quite frankly, you gotta look at it from a recruiting standpoint, because, and I'll be very honest with you, if we, in my experience, when we post a position for a maintenance worker, which is generally the lowest paid person, we get a lot of applications. When we post at the higher end, for some of your more technical positions, we don't get that many. I can't find, you find me a guy with a wastewater treatment plant, class, the CD or A, I mean, those guys are getting harder to find.
Right.
So oftentimes, and I understand with your existing workforce, but we don't wanna lose guys or girls that have those, technical certifications because we've only given them maybe a 2%, so that's.
And that might be, more of a concern for whoever you pay to do your, wage study,
Yeah.
coding study, because they're the ones who are supposed to go out there
Yeah,
and say, this is what the market average is, so if you have a problem attracting people
right.
to come here, then it's probably about the money,
Well,
county's economy.
And to the extent that we are or not, if we have the ability to bring them in a little bit higher, that solves our problem, but that doesn't solve your problem of keeping those people
Right,
progressing.
it's slap in the face to
Yeah.
those that,
Yeah.
But once again, bring,
Yeah, no,
decades
I
of-
understand.
decades of
I know it
dedication.
was pitched to the commissioners about the firefighters and the police, and nothing against them,
Oh, yeah.
about the people they have lost. I myself, in my building, have lost 8 people in the last year to go to better paying jobs.
Yeah, I'm
So it's
gonna-
not just the firefighters and the police, it's everybody.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Hillsborough
I'm-
County, Pinellas County,
Yeah.
that's who we should do our facilities study.
Yeah.
Even Hernando starts mechanics off more than you do.
Yes,
Um,
I'm familiar
John,
with that.
what about the $1 an hour for the confined space? Did you kick that around at all?
yeah, it's in there, too. Still on a proposal.
Yeah, I've never
Employees
seen
elected
that
to work in
anywhere.
confined space. What's that?
I've never seen an incentive for confined space, that's a new one.
Well, it's hazardous duty, just like hazardous duty for firefighters and cops, too. When you go down in a 45-foot well, you gotta have gas meters going, and you're using cutting torches and grinders. and-
Which positions does that affect?
That usually affects your plant mechanic 1s, 2s, and probably utility worker 3.
Tom says when you're working under the hood of an international truck.
Fire truck.
I can make one phone call and I can get you a quick demonstration and we'll put you on a
Put
hook
me
into
down
the,
there.
yes.
That's nice, the firefighters are always offering to let you rappel
That'll,
off the roof.
I can do that in about 5 minutes.
I've never taken them up on that either.
HR directors have been offered every.
Yeah.
Every possible.
How much more confined
Let me
space,
show you
rappel
how
off
we
the
do
roof,
this.
They
Right.
wouldn't give me a harness, that was the only problem, they wanted me to rappel.
We'll give you a harness and a hard hat.
Thank you.
Frank, can you say the names of the positions that would be affected by the confined space?
Usually that'd be a plant mechanic 1, a plant mechanic 2, and a utility worker 3.
And again, those are only those
And
who
those,
In utility.
receive the specialized training.
yes, and that's not every one of them because you do have to have a license to go into confined space. You have to go through confined space training and have a certificate, yes.
So they have to work for the training, it's hazardous duty.
Is that the box thing that,
No, that's the
That's
big
different.
round thing where all the poop goes.
oh. Okay, never mind.
And
Yeah, no, I
you
can't
can
remember
strike
what they
me off
call it.
because I wouldn't fit down a manhole, so I never got my certificate.
So I just want to say that, whatever the equivalent is that matches the budget, that we're not necessarily saying that that's gonna
I
be
agree.
acceptable.
I
But it'd be
agree.
nice to know what that comes out to be.
Okay.
I just
Yeah.
got one. Can I ask a question about the confined space? The $1 an hour differential, is that only for hours doing those duties?
The day.
Only when you're
for
on
the-
the job site doing that?
No, just for the whole day, just for the whole day.
Yeah, while you're doing.
So
that job.
most of the time confined space does take about 8 hours.
Right.
By the time you set everything up, get all your safety procedures set up, you send the guy down into the hole to do the job, then he comes back up, you gotta take all the stuff back down. It's normally an 8-hour day.
So if it's a
Just
4-hour
while you're
job,
doing it.
it wouldn't be 4 hours of pay, you're proposing the full shift
Yes,
for that day?
just for that
Well,
day.
no, I'm not agreeing with that then. If you do a
Oh, okay.
confined space that only takes 4 hours, you should still get the $1 an hour for the 4 hours or 8 hours or
Right.
12 hours
Why
or
don't-
whatever
That's what
it
he's
is.
saying.
Why don't we
He's just
decide on
saying-
four
Or while
hours?
you're in the hole?
Yeah.
While you're in the hole.
Yeah.
Why don't we decide on 4-hour increments, so make, I guess the accounting, either while I was on for an hour and a half, and I came back up for 2 hours, then went back down for another 30 minutes, and came back up for, let's just do half-day increments, I think it'll be easy. You're not gonna be in a hole any less than a half-day, are you?
No,
No.
normally it's an all-day event, like you
Okay.
said. It is
So,
an
but
all-day
in the odd
event.
chance it carries over to the second day, where you're 2 or 3 hours in the second day, then if it's 4-hour increments, does that sound fair?
Well,
That's kind
there
of
are,
usual.
and I'll be perfectly honest with you, there are some times when confined space can go actually 3 or 4 days,
Yeah.
depending
You're
on
working on a project.
how much
Yeah.
they have to repair.
How
Right, so
often-
the objective is while you're doing the confined space, get that $1 an hour
How-
adjustment. But when
how
you're just
often?
doing your regular gig, your
Yeah.
regular pay.
How
How-
often is that? I mean, if you were to take a,
With my
Let's say
job, I
you-
could say sometimes we might do that once a week, twice a week. Lift stations is normally if they're doing a revamp.
Yeah, that's once, maybe it has to be all planned out, so it's
Project.
once a month,
Probably once a month.
maybe once every 2 weeks.
Right.
it's just, yeah.
So it varies, it's just if we encompass to where whenever you're in the hole,
Mhm.
doing a confined space, that would pretty much cover
But,
it.
you know what, I wanna caucus on that, just put that
Yeah.
on
I'm
pause.
not asking his proposal, I mean, we're just talking. so,
We,
yeah.
we also did have a, from one employee about also if we could combine that with cutting the asbestos pipe. Well, if cutting the asbestos pipe gets
Well,
on,
we're not supposed to do that anymore now.
Well,
I'm in the
we
super
have
committee
emplo-
and utility, and if you do, then we need to talk, because
Okay,
outside the
'cause,
committee, we're not supposed to touch it. They've got a contractor that's supposed to come in and handle all of that.
okay, because
So if you
your
got somebody
buddy
touching it-
was the one that asked me about
Right
it.
after we fire.
So whoever my buddy is, then
I'll talk to you outside.
Okay,
They're supposed to.
But, yeah, I'll gladly yield to Frank for however many hours you're in the hole, is
Right,
what you get
the
paid for.
Proposal's on hold, guys.
Okay,
yeah, well, just,
D's on hold, we need a caucus.
Okay.
Okay.
that's sweet, is there more? So, we got one more position reclassification, what was the issue there?
That still falls under seniority, because what happens is, once again, it's subject to favoritism, when I can't give you a raise, I'm just gonna change your job title. And, I don't know
Yeah,
if
the only
that's-
problem with that is that it should be
posted.
for something that's already being done, right? I mean, generally speaking.
It's abused, and I'm not saying that we can't agree to it, but it wraps into seniority, because I've seen it abused. It's a kind of a sneaky way to give someone that you like a raise, by simply changing their job title. And the way I thought, when you have a new job, it's supposed to be posted and go through the HR procedure of filling a new position. For one, I got 4 or 5 people, I can just simply change their title to a 1 to a 2 or a 3, and it bumps the pay grades up without being posted. That's where the heartburn is with this. But, we should talk about all of this.
Okay. So, is that everything? I don't know.
60 still.
Duration of it, yeah. Well, where are we with this? Is this a new?
yeah, I thought, I got TA too.
No, I'm sorry, I was just asking where we're at in terms of, so data recognition to, so,
Look at your,
okay, so we are in, wait a second. Okay, Jim, help me.
It'll
Is
go
this
an
a-
additional year, it'll go until
So
17.
we only had a 1-year contract last time?
So, yeah.
Yeah, 1 year before that.
Okay, so then
We want to go 2 this time.
2 or 3? I mean,
I don't mind doing 3 if we can get the wages figured out, but
Let's
Well,
talk
we
about
would do
that during the
openers,
break.
yeah, we won't, I'm just, yeah, I don't know what,
going from 1 to 2 is doubling the duration.
yeah, I know, right?
You want to triple it, you're not opposed to it.
Not that I don't wanna see you people all the time, but,
No, it really has been, yeah, but then on the same token, the contract, it has been needing improvement, so we didn't
yeah,
find
that's
anything.
fine, yep, exactly, okay. Alright, so, what's the plan for, caucusing and coming back,
Take a
obviously, you can take lunch, and then we
Lunch.
can take the.
We were
lead.
advised at the very first bargaining session with the Teamsters that the Teamsters have lunch. I remember the
And
quote,
don't
we were
forget.
thinking about having T-shirts, because I thought, it's such a great idea.
You buy them, we'll wear them.
They're taxable, though.
2 o'clock?
Yeah, that sounds, is that good, Randy?
Yeah.
Okay, and then, I don't,
That'll leave us 2 hours.
Wow.
No, I mean, that'll leave us 2 hours when we come back.
Well,
We're scheduled to 4.
You probably know a little bit more about where we're gonna go, because most of these proposals are ours, you know,
yeah, I mean, I don't know if we, well, I'll tell you what, let's come back, I mean, my guess is we probably, there's a lot of proposals that you've made that I really don't feel comfortable without, like I mentioned to you, talking to some of the department, and I haven't, quite frankly, met some of them, so, after we discuss, some things, and I'd like to cost out that wage thing, just to see what that is, it's not gonna be done today, but.
Got one department head right here, talk to him.
Yeah, he's above the department head, but he's gotta check with his department heads too.
He
So,
tells the department heads what to do.
yeah.
You will do this.
It's a long
But he still wants to know what's
call
going on.
Germany though, isn't it?
I guess, the question is the question is 2 hours enough, is that what you're saying, or?
Well, what I'm
is this a statement
suggesting, no, what I'm suggesting is that some of the answers I might not have this afternoon. So I think when we come back, maybe an hour or so, maybe we can spend doing some of them, but then we're probably gonna maybe need next week or something. So that's what my thought is, or the week after. That way I can have some answers, because I don't wanna just,
Yeah, we don't wanna rush through any of it.
right,
for sure.
exactly.
And the only problem with that is also, I think one of the county proposals was if it wasn't done by October 1st, there will be no retro.
pay.
And we've only had 3 meetings now, so we're not
Yes.
stalling.
Okay, fair enough. We'll keep that in mind.
I don't know if you got that email, but it was a little gruff, I would say,
Yeah.
the way it was worded, unfortunately,
Yeah, well,
And I did bring it up to Michelle in our meeting. I said, we only had 3 meetings. There's no way you can get a contract of this nature in 3 meetings. And I said, we were willing to meet much more often.
Yeah.
But for some reason, that wasn't able to take place,
Yeah, and so, again, the all day, is kind of tough, so, I mean, but I'm, like I said, I think maybe we can start doing it a little more frequently, just a little shorter duration, so, I think that might be better for
Good.
scheduling, so.
Good.
And we can talk about that as well. Okay, so back at 2, is that?
Well, no, it's
Yep.
2:05.
2 o'clock.
Then let's round it up to 1:30.
You want to get back soon, I guess he's got a flight to catch.
No,
And I'm not being sarcastic.
I tell you what, why don't we take just a 3 to 5 minute break?
Okay.
And let's talk about what we can accomplish during, whether it's an hour and a half or 2-hour break, and then coming back, and give you a better picture of what we think we could accomplish, rather than you going off to lunch wondering what's gonna happen when we come back.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So give us, we'll find a little room here, and stay. Going off at 12:30.